Florida House Speaker Paul Renner joins us now in studio. Thanks for stopping by. Great
Holly,
to have you here.
Great to be with you.
All right, we're going to talk about your priority, which is HB1, which the House has overwhelmingly passed with bipartisan support, and that's to protect kids on social media and to ban them 16 and under on social media. This was very important for you. We heard you talk a lot about it before the session, but the governor said he thinks, he agrees with it in premise, but it needs some tweaks. So where does it stand now as it heads over to the Senate?
Well, look, I mean, the internet for adults is one piece of this, but for kids, it's a different conversation. And what we know about social media platforms is they're designed to be addictive, to give us those little dopamine hits of likes and hearts and notifications. And for kids whose brains are still developing at that age, they want to get on and they want to stay on, and we know also that it's harming them. The Surgeon General said if you're on, more than a few hours a day, you're twice as likely to suffer depression. And we had surveys from the CDC showing almost 1 out of 3 high school girls have considered suicide in the last year. I mean, those are staggering numbers. And so we need to address this. This is a tragic experiment that's taken, 2 decades for us to realize that we've got a problem. We've got to do something about it.
We heard a lot of those same things discussed on Capitol Hill this past week when the big tech CEOs were in front of the Senate committee, and on both sides of the aisle, they were really grilling those big tech guys to the point where Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook stood up. He apologized to some families that were in the room who felt like their kids had gone through these types of things. So it's a lot of noise, and everybody says we want to protect our kids, but yet how much can the government really do? How much can Florida really do?
Well, when it comes to that, we don't let kids smoke or drink or get behind the wheel of a car until they're 16. It's that category of things that are harmful enough and at that young age that we just say, look, we're just taking this off the table so that parents don't have to have that fight with their kids of you're going to ostracize me from my social life, because that is their social life on social media. We did a bill last year just to take cell phones out of the classroom during the time that the teacher's speaking. Pretty simple, pretty common sense. We've seen disciplinary problems plummet. We've seen kids start to engage with each other and kind of come out of that cell phone, social media stupor and become kids again and start to engage, socially. And so it's going to be a good thing. It's a needed thing, and we've waited too long to come to this point, but we have to have this conversation.
I know you sent a letter, regarding all of this to those folks on Capitol Hill, explaining what Florida is doing. There was also an ad that you put out that, compared the hearings with big tobacco from, the 90s or 30 years ago, however long it was, to the hearing today with big tech. Is it that type of an addiction? You had big tobacco saying, well, we didn't know our product was harmful. We didn't know it was an addiction. And clearly things have changed in the past 30 years on how people view it. Do you think decades from now we'll look back and go, how did we let kids do this?
Absolutely. And look, when tobacco first came out hundreds of years ago, or opioids, we had the opioid crisis, perhaps they thought at the time like this was not going to be habit forming and harmful, but then at a point they knew full well. And we did a video this week just showing the juxtaposition of people coming in, tobacco execs saying nicotine is not addictive, and you've got Mark Zuckerberg saying social media is not addictive, while the people who created social media, if you watch The Social Dilemma, said we did it on purpose. We made it addictive by design. That's pretty bad. And we know now the mental health consequences to our children, especially because of that. And so when you put, addiction, children, harm, and monetization together, it kind of sounds like trafficking to me. And so we've got this digital drug that's really doing a lot of harm to our kids, and we've got to rescue them out of that and let them, enjoy their childhood and enjoy the time in school that they need to be learning and learning how to socialize and react with people. Some social scientists say kids today, after they get through that social media, don't know how to relate as human beings. So part of this is like reclaiming our full humanity. And I've had more and more parents come to me and say, thank God you're doing this. And they tell me a story about how social media kind of broke their kids.
Speaker Renner, always great to catch up with you. Thanks for coming by.
Great to be with you, Holly. Thank you.